with Stephen Fleming, a partner at PwC. Steve, you're going to be talking a little bit about retailing today, and one of the phenomenon or the things that are going on currently is sort of a dearth of restructuring and more going right to bankruptcy. So tell us more about that. What's behind this?
Sure. I think in particular over the past, I'd say the past cycle or wave, this December, January period, there have been a number of specialty retailers, particularly concentrated in the teen space, that as opposed to attempting to restructure or reorganize or even attempt a going concern sale, they've gone straight out to a liquidation. And this is perhaps different than the last wave of bankruptcies or even some of the cases that have filed over the past couple of years.
So why is that?
There's a number of reasons. There's not just one. Two that I think are first and foremost on my mind would have to do with the fatigue of the lenders and the stakeholders involved. Oftentimes these companies are waiting to the last minute to take some type of decisive action. And it just doesn't give them a whole lot of runway to restructure or reorganize. I would say the second factor is because there's been so many concentrated cases in the specialty retail, the liquidators have played an increasing role by putting forward very competitive bids that take out the senior secured lender up front. So rather than face the prospects of a drawn-out, risky restructuring process, it's very enticing for a senior secured lender to accept the liquidation bid and be done.
And what does it say about the management of those kinds of companies?
Well, I think it's on a case-by-case basis. It's tough to generalize, but I generally say that the more proactive boards and management teams would take some type of proactive action, years in advance of ever getting to that point. And the longer you wait, the less options that you have.
Does the overall interest rate picture have anything to do with this? And the Fed, the possibility that we'll have higher interest rates, does that weigh into this at all, or is it sort of the macro picture doesn't really get into this at all?
I think as we talk about specialty retailers, I don't think that's a direct cause. I would say more generally, these retailers are over leveraged, and they just can't sustain the debt on their balance sheet, which puts them in these situations where they trip a covenant, and now they need a lender to give them more breathing room.
It seems also that with even more established retailers, the idea of the kind of franchise that they've had over a longer time seems to be eroding with technology. There's so much disruption in this space. Does that make it harder for these specialty retailers to succeed?
Yeah, I think that's right. I think that's a pretty substantial force. I mean, we've seen, it's been talked about at length the past couple of years, the effect that e-commerce has had on traditional brick and mortar retailers. I'd like to say it extends even beyond that. It's defining and capturing and communicating with your customers. Back in the day, it used to be the point of sale, customer service and merchandising. Now it's using social media like Facebook and Twitter and Instagram to communicate and stay relevant, especially in the teen space where these consumers are very fickle and they don't have that same sense of brand loyalty that may have existed 10, 20 years ago.
So do you see this trend continuing beyond this year?
Absolutely. Some of the companies that have successfully restructured or reorganized or even avoided bankruptcy have been those that have been quick to adopt technology. Again, how they interact with their customers, having mobile apps. I mean, mobile shopping, I think, is a big trend across retail broadly. And I think consumers, the way that they buy and the way that they purchase is different. Even than 5 years ago, e-commerce was the talk of retail. Now it's mobile. If you're not on mobile, I think in 2, 3, 4 years from now, people are going to be talking about that as the big thing, as we've heard people talk about e-commerce.
And as far as restructuring, what about the pattern of that over the next year? Do you think the volume of the restructurings will continue? Not restructurings, but I mean the bankruptcies and other.
Yeah, I mean, I would say there's not a week that goes by where I don't hear a rumor that this retailer is in trouble or that retailer is going to file. Some of them have been predictable. Others are probably 6, 12, 18 months out, some household names that we all grew up with. So I don't think that broader trend is going to change in my view.
So we'll keep our eyes open as to who's next in this.
Yeah, that's right.
Steve, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you.